This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. Welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Hey, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Welcome on into your Thursday edition of our weather podcast here at KSLA News 12. Again, for those of you who don't know me, first time meeting you. First of all, handshake. Nice to meet you. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason here in the Weather Center, or not in the Weather Center, Podcast Center. My goodness. That's like something I'm used to saying. Used to being in the Weather Center anyways. Especially recently. CJ, I know, has been taking control of this, taking good care of this for the past 2 days. He's been a good co-host. Again, we're trying to get meteorologist CJ Cartledge, a lot more involved with our First Alert Weather Breakdown. And, we're trying to kind of get me and him kind of just, co-host, so to speak, on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I got to find a way, and I'm just realizing this live on air, but we haven't done an episode where we've had me and CJ on at the same exact time. I'm going to try to make that happen. I don't think that can happen next week because something behind the scenes, essentially scheduling-wise with CJ next week. The point is CJ's out for, literally out of town for a portion of next week. But I want to try to maybe get some conversation going with me and him, because sometimes I feel like two brains and two people is better than one. Two meteorologists is better than one sometimes, especially when you're talking about weather. I could go into weather rant. That's what the point of having this First Alert Weather Breakdown is, going into, again, the little itsy-bitsy details that we don't have time for in a typical news show. So, again, point is I miss CJ. I miss him, in a way. Anyways, you're with me. Hi, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason again. Welcome in. It's a beautiful day here for Thursday. It's been nice and refreshing the past 2 mornings as well. In fact, this morning, before we get into our normal rundown for what we're talking about here for the First Alert Weather Breakdown, this morning was the first morning where we were actually able to do weather live out in our courtyard on our morning show. So if you missed that and you want to watch that again, well, guess what? We'll probably be doing that again tomorrow. We'll probably be doing that regularly as long as the sun allows us to. This is kind of the 3-month period where we have enough daylight in our final 30 minutes of our morning show to where I can actually be live outside. So that is fantastic. So for those of you that missed it, it was a beautiful morning this morning. I can confirm. Was out there giving the forecast live. We had live graphics. Pretty cool. If you missed it, so you'll check it out here tomorrow. Tomorrow will be sometime during the 6:30 show, a part of our morning weather show. Anyways, let's get to the nitty-gritty here for the day today. We are talking about 2 different things. I mainly just want to go into the forecast a lot in depth. We did have exclusive content here for the day today, but unfortunately it has been moved to next week due to unforeseen circumstances. I'm not going to give away what I was trying to do here for the day today, but the point is we're still going to be having fun talking about a bunch of things with the weather, because obviously this is one of the most important weather weekends of the year. This is the unofficial start to summer, obviously, Memorial Day weekend. So we'll see how that forecast is going to happen for a 3-day weekend. We're going to go into detail on all 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Meanwhile, rain is likely in the long-term forecast. I know today is beautiful. Yesterday was beautiful as well. But unfortunately, a good amount of rain is going to be coming back into the article text, and unfortunately, some of that could mix with Memorial Day weekend, which is exactly why we want to keep you first alert and give you all the details to that laid out in this whole First Alert Weather Breakdown, which is our, again, weather podcast. So we're pretty much going to go into a long, lengthy future track. We'll make the future track long, go into kind of the specifics on each and every day here coming up. But the point is, we're going into a lengthy forecast. Last thing, last little quick thing here before we go into the forecast here real quick. Last thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out to A. Carol. It just says A. Carol on our YouTube chat. She says, or he, not sure. But anyways, they say they really appreciate the weather and all the updates regarding the weather. So thank you. First of all, thank you very much. And second of all, if you have your own comment question, you can always shoot it on our YouTube live chat, and we can answer it live, just like I did. Amazing. So, yeah, feel free to do that at any point during this forecast. All right, let's get into it. Let's get to the fun. Get to the nitty gritty. All right, live look at our Window World Skycam as I am doing some things behind the scenes to get control of the graphics here. Again, beautiful blue skies, sunshine on our Window World camera there in Texarkana. You notice there is not even a cloud in the sky at all, and you would be correct. That's going to change a little bit, though, for this afternoon. This is a live look into downtown Shreveport as well, and it looks like we're seeing maybe a little bit of cloud cover there in the distance, but overall, it is beautiful sunshine here for the day today. So is what has happened so far. Unfortunately, it does look like we are going to be gathering a little bit of cloud cover here late into the afternoon and into the evening hours, which unfortunately could spell rain, even as soon as today. Yeah, we're going to go into that future track here in just a moment. Meanwhile, currently right now, sunshine all across the Arklatex. Temperatures continuing to warm up. Upper 70s and lower 80s is what you're feeling out the side if you're watching the stream outside currently, or if you're inside wondering if you should get out now. Well, I'd say yeah, before it gets even more hot in the afternoon, and we do build in even the smallest chance of some storms creeping in here for late tonight. So yeah, we're building in a few chances of some storms here for the day today. That's probably the biggest change in the forecast between today and yesterday, is we have the slim chance of some storms. Really want to emphasize the word slim out to you, okay? Most of us not even going to see storms still at all, which is good. Meanwhile, we do have a spare few of us that will catch on to a couple of storms. Now, if you don't get storms onto today, which most of us won't, you will be catching on to storms this weekend. Widespread storms are expected. Our next big round of widespread storms is expected to come through here for a portion of the weekend. Do not cancel your weekend plans at all. This is not going to be impacting your entire weekend. In fact, I still think you have a good lengthy amount of time with the sunshine. That's why I kind of hid, I still have that sunshine attached to that cloud, that thunderstorm cloud, essentially. But there are going to be good portions of the weekend to avoid outdoor activities. All right? We'll get into all that coming up in just a little bit. Let's talk short term. Let's talk temperatures first, because temperatures really aren't changing by that much over the next several days. By much. I'll get to what I'm talking about here in just a second with that. Right now, temperatures are at 82 in Shreveport, 79 again in Texarkana, 81 Magnolia, 79. Idabel, warmest spot is in Bienville at 84 degrees, and it's just past 10:30. You know it's going to be hot again this afternoon already, with us facing temperatures up around 80 degrees already now. 93 this afternoon in Natchitoches, 92 in Shreveport. Maybe a little cooler in the northern half of the Arklatex. 85 for Idabel and the Queen for highs today. All right, so that's for the highs today. Tomorrow morning, this is probably the only change of note that's happening here for the short term in terms of temperatures. We woke up this morning to temperatures once again in the low to mid 60s here for the most part. Tomorrow morning, temperatures back down in the 60s again, but some of us might not even reach down below 70 degrees. Overall, low temperatures for the morning hours are going to be in the upper 60s and lower 70s. So we're slowly losing our cooler mornings here by the day, essentially. Again, it peaked yesterday morning. It was still mostly around here this morning, too. It's looking to slowly fade away here for tomorrow morning, and we're back to our typical upper 70s, lower 80s to start off our muggy mornings here, especially once we get back into the weekend. That's going to start on Saturday morning and continue on into Sunday. And most of that is because of storms. Let's talk storms, shall we? Here is our IR satellite picture. Before we talk about anything, simply and logistically, let's kind of get into the science of it all, of what's controlling and dominating our weather over the next couple of days. And that all surrounds this low pressure system associated with a stationary front. Now, low pressure center in itself, for most of you have probably already figured this out, low pressure system usually means rain, especially when it's near us. Also, because we don't see a high-pressure system around us, which is even more cause for, I guess, concern in a way. So we have a low-pressure system near us that's giving us a little chance of storms here for the day today. But just so you know, this same stationary front and low-pressure system is going to be causing our rain for Memorial Day weekend as well. That's because this is a stationary front. And can you figure out what stationary fronts do? Well, if you said be stationary, you would be correct. That is the issue with this system. It is not going to be moving by that much. We're expecting little spurts of rain to pop off this thing, especially in the afternoon hours, pretty much each and every day. Now, if you notice where the stationary front is exactly positioned, if you kind of track it on the map here, it is located a little bit north of the Arklatex, which is actually good because what that's going to do is over the next several days, it's going to keep most of those storms to our north. So if you're traveling further north into, say, central Oklahoma by Oklahoma City, or if you're going out towards Little Rock here over the next several days, you're going to be running into lots of rain in those areas overall. We're talking today, Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. Days of the Arklatex that aren't getting rain here for the most part. Again, that's because the stationary front's situated to our north. It's keeping most of the storms at bay just off to the north side. But the issue is going to be that the stationary front is going to get nudged here over the weekend. It's going to get nudged southward. When you put the stationary front now on top of the Arklatex here in time for the weekend, that's not good because it looks like it's going to get nudged on top of the Arklatex here for Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and go over the timing a little bit with this. The stationary front gets nudged southward into the Arklatex here for Sunday, and then it just stays there, stands still, and it's stuck here, which is giving us numerous rounds of rain for multiple days. That includes Memorial Day. That also includes a good chunk of next week, it looks like, at this point in time as well. So we're dealing with lots of rainy days upcoming, but again, for the long term, once that stationary front moves southward, thankfully the stationary front is mostly helping us out here for the day today by, for the most part, being up to our north. So again, the next 3 days, mostly dry. After that, lots of rain coming. We're going to go into the timing of that all in the future track. If you did notice, though, we do have some rain on the horizon. Nothing that's really in the Arklatex at the moment. If anything, looks like maybe a little light drizzle in northeast Texas, if anything, currently at this point. But we do have a good chunk of some storms here rolling in through eastern Oklahoma, but eastern Oklahoma outside of McCurtain County. If you do look at their trajectory, though, they are moving south and east. The issue is the stationary front, which is going to keep, again, most of these storms pretty still in their movement. Looks like the cell next to McAllister is moving a good bit south and east, but the cell that's on top of I-39, for example, is not moving that much on the loop. Not only that, most of the future track shows like these kind of storms forming in eastern Oklahoma, and then has them drying. We'll go over the future track here in just a moment, but it has most of these cells in eastern Oklahoma essentially almost drying out before they get into the Arklatex. So let's take a look at the future track, shall we? So we have these storms continuously forming in and around these areas, which could certainly reach the northern half of the Arklatex, including Texarkana. But if you notice on this future track, again, most of it dries out, which would be good news to keep most of Texarkana and the northern half of the Arklatex dry. But again, that's our only chance of storms here for the day today. If anybody's getting the storms here today, it's the northern half of the Arklatex up by Texarkana. I'm not expecting anything for Shreveport southward into the southern half of the Arklatex. I will say, if you're in Shreveport, for example, I know we have lots of sunshine out now. You might see a little bit of cloud cover right before sunset here for this late evening, and also heading into tonight, a little bit of cloud cover as well, which is also leading to slightly warmer morning temperatures here for tomorrow morning. But meanwhile, it's just going to be cloud cover, it looks like. If anything, again, just a stray couple of showers lingering in the northern half of the Arklatex here for the evening hours tonight. Then you see that entire system dissipates. Once we get into Friday, it's kind of the same start. We're starting off with a good amount of sunshine. If anything, maybe a little bit of cloud cover for the southern half of the Arklatex. But then you notice kind of these green little dots popping up in the afternoon hours. That is brief little light rain showers, it looks like, that could form. It appears to be anywhere around the Arklatex here for your Friday afternoon. Now, I mean, you're seeing this future track. This isn't a whole blanket of storms. This isn't anything severe, which is good, and most importantly, but maybe just watch out for a brief little rain shower to hit you at any point in the day here for tomorrow afternoon. Then we get into Saturday. Notice the storms off to the north half of the Arklatex. Again, that deals with that stationary front staying on the north end of the region here, at least through Friday and through Saturday. Looks like we could actually get a brief shot of rain, as you see there, through the northern edge of the Arklatex and through Saturday early morning. But overall, I think we're going to keep most of the storms, hopefully off to our north on Saturday, but we'll see. We'll keep you first alert. As you saw in that future track, it tries to dip down a few little brief shots of some storms there in areas around Texarkana here for your Saturday. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes exactly a little closer to the day. Just, that's the latest future track that's just come out here about 30 minutes ago. And it originally showed nothing on Saturday. It kept everything entirely off to our north. Kind of interesting now, the recent model that we're just getting out during the first alert with a breakdown is popping in a few of those showers and storms in areas of the Arklatex, essentially. All right, so continuing on. Severe risk here for today. Again, as we just saw the future track, nothing's looking that impressive here for the day today in terms of the number of storms that are going to be here. But out of the few cells that do make it here, they will look to carry still a slight chance and slight risk of severe weather. Essentially, that green shade and the marginal risk, I think, shows you how far south and how far east, worst case, the storms could go, which covers, the green shade, it covers all of southwestern Arkansas. Technically, it does cover the little corner of northwest Louisiana, including Shreveport and Bossier, but Shreveport and Bossier got you at like a 10% chance of rain here for this evening. I really don't think storms are going to survive that far south. It could also hit areas around Longview and Marshall in the green shade. I'm expecting the bulk of our stray showers to be hitting in that yellow shade, though, here for today. And that includes DeQueen. That includes McCurtain County in Oklahoma. That also includes most of northeastern Texas, including Mount Pleasant in the process, too. What we're watching out for severe threat-wise, thankfully, is not tornadic coverage, at least here locally. There is a chance for tornadoes, I believe, further out west towards Dallas and Fort Worth with the cells they could be getting near there. But I believe the tornadic chance here locally, pretty much non-existent, which is good news. Most of what we're watching out for severe risk-wise and that slight risk that you see there is going to be hail. It's going to be hail, some thick rain droplets here for tonight. All right, so that's the first system that comes on through today. Again, that was a whole look at the slim pickings of rain that we'll get here over the next 3 days. Before I get into the Memorial Day forecast, I'm going to take a quick break for about a minute and a half just to take a drink of water, and then we're going to talk long-term future track, long-term forecast, which gets into, yes, Memorial Day weekend. We're going to have the full details with this. Again, after a quick break, stick around. I'll be back after this. Welcome back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. All right. Lo and behold, let's get to the main reason why many of you are probably here on the stream, which is looking at the chance of storms for Memorial Day weekend. Now, as I said, there's slim pickings of rain over the next 3 days. which includes Saturday. Hey, at least a corner and at least a piece of your Memorial Day weekend is dry, which, again, is Saturday here for the most part. As we kind of looked on that short-term future track, it maybe a little bit of strips, slim pickings of storms even creeping into your Saturday too, but overall, I think we should be dry here for the first portion of the weekend. Can't say the same about the second half of your Memorial Day weekend. Now, if you don't get storms here over the next 3 days, you will get storms here from widespread rain showers here that are going to be impacting us into the second half of your Memorial Day weekend. This is looking to come through late Sunday and also heading into Monday as well, as this is all associated with a cold front that's going to push us as a part of that stationary front that we talked about earlier. That's going to push on through and give us storms again, likely all across the region. But my biggest issue with this, if I had to talk about anything severe threat-wise, at this point, I'm just looking at flash flooding. That has been noticed by the National Weather Service, and I can kind of reaffirm that in my evaluation of this as well, mainly because this is a system, as you'll see on our future track, that looks to stay around. The rain almost stays in place, which is a bad recipe for flash flooding. Extended periods of time with rain, especially with good rain totals around here. So let's look at the long-range future track, shall we? Again, just slim pickings of rain here, especially on the northern edge of the Arklatex here over the next 3 days. Then you get into Sunday. We start forming and brewing storms in the afternoon hours on Sunday. So guess what? First of all, if you have any plans to maybe go out to Mass on Sunday brunch for Memorial Day weekend, still hitting the pool around the midday hours when it will still be hot, those kind of activities, I think you'll still be fine. The earliest our future track is planning on forming these storms are pretty much in the early afternoon hours, say 1, 2 o'clock. So, again, Mass time is looking just fine. I'd say if you're going out to the pool maybe on Sunday, I'd plan earlier the better. Maybe early lunchtime, get a quick lunch in, quick little dip of the pool in before these storms head on into the region. Again, they're going to be brewing starting around the early afternoon hours, looks like. And the big issue for this is that it's going to be widespread once we get further and further into Sunday night. There you see the more widespread and definitely more potent storms that you see in the red shade there in for Sunday night, which also indicates, obviously, lots of heavy rain over a significant area of the Arklatex as well here for your Sunday night. So, again, more stronger storms are going to be creeping in here for Sunday night compared to, say, Sunday afternoon when they just start to form, essentially. Here's the big issue of things, again, that I have. This continues into the overnight, it looks like, according to this long-range future track. This is still 3 in the morning, and we're still getting pounded with storms. Now, this could be a little over-exaggerated because sometimes these long-range future tracks kind of track on a storm staying in place for longer than what ends up happening. But what overall this is suggesting is rain still being stuck on us, some presence of storms being stuck on to us here through Memorial Day. Yeah, Monday morning, look at the rain. Has it moved? No. It still hasn't moved since the overnight hours, and it just sticks around even into the early afternoon hours. If anything, maybe cleaning up the northern half of the Arklatex by the afternoon hours on Memorial Day. But overall, unfortunately, Memorial Day does appear to be a washout before we finally start to dry things up on Memorial Night. Now, I will say, watch out for Tuesday. Look at areas off to the north and west of the Arklatex. They could still be bringing in more storms here for your Tuesday and Wednesday, start to next work week as well. So, yeah, watch out for the couple storms that could be on tap then. Meanwhile, here is your rainfall potential. Again, this is the big issue, for me at least, with this upcoming system. Is going to be flash flooding. All of us expected at least have an inch of rain. Now, to be fair, this includes rain over the next 7 days entirely, which I know doesn't just include Sunday and Monday. But for the most part, most of our rain, especially most of the widespread storms that we've just been discussing on that full long-range future track, which goes over the entire next week, is going to, as you saw on that whole future track, discussed over the entire next week, the best chance for storms certainly going to be Sunday night into Monday, which, my case in point, is going to be giving us the most amount of rain during that time. So it looks like areas in the northern half of the Arklatex have slightly greater rain totals, it looks like, expected here from the system, which means a longer time staying with the rain, essentially, where they could reach rain totals up to 2 to 3 inches. Now, I will say I've seen worse cases on this rainfall potential over 7 days, but it's still a little concerning, especially when you have some of those greater rain totals even north of the Arklatex, up towards Fayetteville. I believe they could get almost 5-6 inches in the next 7 days, which is a lot. All right, so to reiterate and summarize everything up, again, today, just a slim chance of storms around Texarkana here for this evening. Then you head into Memorial Day weekend. Saturday, you're fine. You have any plans on Saturday? They're good. Pretty much thumbs up. As we saw in that latest little short-term future track, and again, that was a new future track that was shown up in the short term, that did try to pop in a few storms in for Saturday. So maybe still stay weather aware on that day, but overall, that is going to be the driest out of the 3 days. I can definitely guarantee you that. So if you want your best luck against the storm, Saturday is your day to get out. Sunday, the morning hours should be fine. We start building those storms again in the afternoon, and Sunday night is going to be gross. And unfortunately, that leads into storms that appear to be sticking around all day long, thanks to that stationary front that stays in place on Monday. And again, a few of those storms also creep on into your Tuesday and Wednesday, too. Here's a full look at your 7-day forecast, what we've been discussing here on the First Look with a Breakdown. Other things that I have not got, obviously, next 3 days, mostly dry. 4 days following that, not so much. Again, most of that's going to start on Sunday afternoon and continue to give us round after round of storm all the way into the middle of next week. So, yeah, if you got some outdoor stuff to do, chores to do, I'd do them sooner rather than later. Maybe you can wait for the weekend. You can play your cards then as well, but still watch out for storms, obviously, hitting in the second half of your weekend. Two of the things I do want to mention that we haven't talked about too much at all. The mornings, again, are going to be warming up. Temperatures starting off in the mid-70s once we get into Saturday morning. The other thing that we really haven't talked about at all, though, temperatures cooling down. Again, highs are still in the lower 90s. We still maintain heat all the way through Sunday, but then we have a big shot of some cooler air that really is pushed into the region here on Monday and sticks around still for Tuesday and Wednesday. This is not just a brief cold front where we get a little tiny blast of some cool air before it dissipates away. This is cool air that's going to be going to look to be maintained in the Arklatex for at least a span of what appears to be 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday all have highs right around 80 degrees, which will be a little more comfortable and give us a little break from summer heat, at least for a wee bit. It'll still be humid around with the storms, but hey, at least a little break for those of you who have been, I guess, missing to past few months. Okay, not going to lie. I've been kind of missing I'm a fan of all weather, but I do like my comfortable temperatures that aren't reaching 90 degrees either. So, anyways, that was a full look at your forecast. Look at that. That took us 30 minutes. I know. First of all, thank you all very much, especially for those of y'all that stuck around the entire live stream to hear me out and hear out the full forecast and full great detail. I don't see any other comments on our YouTube feed at all that I need to address, or I don't see any comments, period, that are there on the YouTube feed. But I do want to, again, thank you all very much for watching the First Look with a Breakdown, especially watching the full forecast. I know that took a while, but really wanted to get into the specifics, obviously, because I know tons of plans, especially outdoor plans, for the unofficial start of summer here for Memorial Day weekend. I got my own plans that are going to be a Sunday, and they technically do involve outdoors. So I'm going to keep an eye on them. Because I think we're starting those said plans. I'm not going to give away my personal plans, but the point is I'm going to be outdoors starting my plans on Sunday morning, which, again, I think will be fine. I'm just going to be a little lenient, start to watch the radar, especially once we head till around lunchtime. And then the afternoon, and especially heading to the nighttime hours, is when it's going to get downhill. It's going to get downhill very quickly. And once it starts again, it's going to be hard for it to stop over the next several days. Yeah. So the earlier in the weekend, the better for your summer barbecues, that's for sure. Thanks for watching First Look with a Breakdown again. I will be back here again at 10:30. We'll be discussing your weekend forecast again one more time to see if they have any more recent updates about the exact timing for those storms on the weekend. Once again, especially as we're getting closer and closer, obviously, to the weekend, we get better and better ideas of how we can time out our storms. There for you over the weekend. Do I have anything else? I don't think so. We're just going on the weekend forecast again here for tomorrow. One other thing I will do exclusively also for tomorrow is looking at the regional outlook as well. For those of you traveling outside of the Arklatex here for your Memorial Day weekend. Little Rock, Dallas, New Orleans, Jackson. If you're going out of town, we got your forecast. We got you covered here for tomorrow. That'll be your exclusive content on tomorrow. And then we got lots of fun things planned next work week when storms come back in as well. We will have an episode, by the way, on Monday of next week. I know we have episodes every single weekday. For those of you kind of asking, I know Monday's kind of a holiday. It's not a holiday in the news industry. I'll still be here. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us. You stay weather aware. 10:30 tomorrow. Be there, be square. Most importantly, be weather aware, especially with rain around for Memorial Day weekend. A few of the storms could be severe. We'll keep you first alert on that threat as well, a little closer too. But meanwhile, for me, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Thank you so much for watching the stream in its entirety. It's going to be back. A little 2-day break. But CJ, thanks to CJ for being obviously co-host over the past 2 days and being a host over the past 2 days, I should say. Miss you, CJ. Again, we got, as I said, first thing in the podcast, we got to me and CJ Cartledge got to do a podcast when we're on together at the same time. Got to do that. I'll keep that in the back of my head. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30. I'm talking too much. Peace out, and we'll hope for the best, hopefully for our Memorial Day weekend. But we'll see. We'll keep you first alert. 10:30 tomorrow. I'll see you then. Peace out.